friends, if you're investigating Christianity, you're thinking of becoming a Christian, I understand we're tempted to say things like, but will I need to break up with my boyfriend or girlfriend? If I become a Christian, will I need to give more of my money away? If I become a Christian, will I have to stop doing this? Will I have to start doing that? And what I've found is that when we say, show me exactly where God is taking me, and if I like it, then I'll go, you will never meet the God of the Bible. Because in that scenario, you become God. You become the all-powerful shot caller. You're not answering the call of God. You're staying in control of your own life. There's a part of this that's scary. So, how do you get the courage to do this? I think there's a clue right here. And the answer is you remember. Remember I said you will never give your life to God. You will never go out unless you know that you can trust that God's calling is good, that God is for you and not against you. Twice in this passage, in verse 7 and 8, it says that Abram built an altar. And many scholars and theologians, and I would include myself in thinking this way, conclude that often the people of God, when they were in the wilderness, would build altars so that they could remember. And God met them in this place, and they built an altar. And they moved on. And God met them in this place, and they built an altar. And often they would name it, this is the place where God provided bread. This is the place where God reminded us that he won't leave us. And I think they provided the altar so that next time they came around and they saw it, and they weren't feeling the presence of God, they could say, but do you remember what God did when we built this altar? They remember. And so to be a Christian is often to remind yourself of what God has done in your life in the past. As he calls you into the next chapter, you can't see beyond the horizon, you can't see around the corner, and you begin to counsel yourself, and you remember, this is how God has provided for me in the past. This is how God cared for me back then. I remember that time when I could not see the future, and yet God was in it. I can only see it looking backward, and yet he was there. And then you preach the gospel to your own heart, and you say, the same God that met me there will meet me here. The same God that cared for me then will care for me here, and I can trust him, and I can move forward. Maybe this is why in Matthew chapter 28, Jesus, after being crucified, risen from the dead, shows his followers in his resurrected state and says, all power and authority has been given to me, therefore, go and remember, I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you.